On Monday, a judge pauses Trump's plans to end temporary legal protections for 350,000 Venezuelans that would set them up for deportation. The judge said in his ruling that if Homeland Security ends this legal protection, it threatens to inflict irreparable harm on hundreds of thousands of persons whose lives, families, and livelihoods will be severely disrupted, cost the United States billions in economic activity, and injure public health and safety in communities throughout the United States. He continues to say that the Trump administration failed to identify any real countervailing harm in continuing TPS for Venezuelans, and that Trump's actions are unauthorized by law, arbitrary and capricious, and motivated by unconstitutional animus that is acting on the basis of a negative group stereotype, which is the classic example of racism. The next day, Susan Crawford won the election to be the next justice on Wisconsin's Supreme Court, despite Elon Musk trying to defeat her by spending more than $21 million that included handing out two $1 million checks to voters. In her victory speech, she said, "Today, Wisconsinites fended off an unprecedented attack on our democracy, our fair elections, and our Supreme Court. Wisconsinites said loudly that justice does not have a price and our courts are not for sale." Then on Wednesday, Trump said it was Liberation Day as he implemented his tariff plan across the globe. He said there would be a 10% baseline tax on imports from all countries, and higher tariffs on dozens of other nations, which he calls reciprocal tariffs. Trump hopes this plan will raise government revenue, bring back manufacturing that will make the US less dependent on the rest of the world, and be used as a negotiating tool with other countries to lower their tariffs and buy more US products. Critics say that even if Trump is right, it will take time to see positive results, and the immediate effects of these tariffs will raise prices, risk an economic slowdown, and increase unemployment. The next day, Trump says things are going very well after the global markets dropped in reaction to his new Liberation Day tariffs. In the US markets, by the end of the day, stocks dropped to 2020 pandemic levels. Trump further said that the market's reaction to his tariffs were like, "When a patient gets operated on and it's a big thing. I said this would exactly be the way it is." Critics quickly point out that Trump keeps moving the goalposts about tariffs from, "I'll bring prices down on day one," to, "There will be a little disturbance," and now, "It's a big operation." Then on Friday, a judge ordered that the Trump administration must return Quilmar Abrego Garcia back to the US after he was mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador. Garcia is allowed to legally work in the United States and has legal protection from being deported, and the Trump administration actually admits that he was deported due to an administrative error. Despite all that, the Justice Department still argued that Garcia was indeed a violent MS-13 gang member, but they could not provide any solid proof supporting that claim or his deportation. As a result, the judge said that the deportation was an illegal act and that Garcia must be returned immediately. The next day, protests took place in more than 1,200 locations in all 50 states and abroad as part of the hands-off demonstrations to fight the policies and actions of the Trump administration. Hands off is telling Trump to keep his hands off of our democracy, off of our social security and education, and to keep his hands off of Canada, Greenland, and Gaza, or to keep his hands off of anything else that people value that his administration is threatening, destroying, or eroding. Organizers said that more than 600,000 people signed up to participate, but estimate that actually way more showed up, including over 100,000 people in DC alone. Trump or anyone from his administration did not have an immediate response to the protest. Finally, on Sunday, Goldman Sachs predicts a recession will happen if Trump fully enforces his tariffs. On Air Force One, when Trump was asked about stocks falling around the world and the possibility of a recession, he said he wasn't concerned and that sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something.